Are you lost in the chaotic whirlwind of day-to-day busyness? Do you yearn for a deeper sense of meaning and purpose in your life? Welcome to Be You, Your Story, Your Purpose, the podcast dedicated to empowering women on their journey of self-discovery and finding their true purpose through their own story. I'm your host, Brenda Simmons. Hi, I'm Brenda Simmons, and welcome to the Be You, Your Story, Your Purpose podcast. Since this is the first podcast that I'm doing, I wanted to do a little bit of an introduction to myself and to the podcast and let you know why I decided to do it. So a little bit about myself. I've been married for 25 years. I have 3 adult children. We're not quite empty nesters yet. And I grew up in both Arizona and the Bay Area in California. I've also lived in Missouri, Utah, Rhode Island, and even Brazil for a little bit. So I have an entrepreneur background. We have been self-employed since 2001. We own a handyman business, and I'm also currently a realtor. But aside from that, I've had a lot of different jobs, and that has taught me a lot. Primarily, it's really interesting to me how society thinks that if you change jobs a lot, even, careers and whatnot, that it's kind of looked down upon. And so I get a lot of negative feedback because of the way my journey has played out. And so that's one of the reasons that I wanted to share my journey with you and share other people's journey, because I want everybody to know that their story matters and the way in which your journey unfolds matters. So I'll get a little bit more into all of the different careers that I've had, but just know that there have been several, and I have actually enjoyed every single step along the way. And each position that I've had, whether it's working for somebody else or doing something on my own, has benefited me and helped me to be the person that I am today. So I wanted to share a little bit about my self-improvement journey. I'm very, very much into self-improvement and making my life the most that it can be, but I wasn't always like that. And in fact, for a period of about 5 years, I suffered with severe depression. It was the kind of depression where I just didn't get out of bed a lot of days. And it was really, really difficult, a hard time in my life. And what was interesting about that is I didn't even believe it was depression at first. I've always been a very cheerful, happy person, and it was a total foreign thing to me. And so through my journey, yes, I did learn that I was actually suffering with depression, but I also learned how to go about healing and how to not just heal, but then how do I make goals and keep them? How do I learn discipline? How do I learn how to express my feelings and to be comfortable sitting in uncomfort and to make my life more than what it was at the time? In essence, I wanted to create my life rather than life dictating everything for me. And so that was, it's been a really, really important journey for me. So as I was figuring out that I had depression and coming out of it, I really had to do a lot of research. I gathered a lot of information. I listened to a lot of different podcasts. I took classes. I learned self-regulation and healing tools. I did a lot of self-experimentation, just trying to see what methods worked the best on me. I did a lot of sharing of what works and what didn't with other people as well. I still had challenges. Those didn't go away, but the knowledge that I earned and I gained really helped me to weather a lot of future storms better than I did in the beginning. That being said, life isn't over, and I continue to learn, and I got my life coach certification, and I'm super excited to share with you some tools and tips that I have learned throughout my journey of self-improvement. So every day is a new journey. Every day is a start over, and I get super excited to have those start overs and to know that I can be even better today. So, why am I doing this podcast? Well, I mentioned a little bit earlier one of my reasons, because I want to share with the world the things that I have learned. I do a lot of one-to-ones and networking with people. And one of my favorite things to ask is, what's your story? And it has kind of become a governing question for me, because as I ask people this and as they tell me what their story is, it just means so much to me to know where they've come from and how they have gotten to where they're at now, and what are the journey, what are the challenges and the things that they've learned along the way to make them the person that they are now. And so I love the idea of learning from our stories. I believe that everybody has a story that is vital and it's important to this world. And that story needs to be shared and it needs to be lived to the fullest and it needs to be learned from. And so I think that as we learn from our own stories, we can find the purpose that we have on in our lives. Now, that purpose can be a very short-term purpose. You know, say you're raising kids at home, that can be a short-term purpose or a specific job, or it can be an overarching purpose that you find in your life. Now, I have to tell you that I've really struggled with finding my purpose, and because I've done so many different things, I have learned that you can look at everything that has gone on in your life and find that purpose. You can find the short ones and then also the big one. And so I want to share this journey with you. I want to share the journeys of other people with you so that you can know that your story is just as important. It is just as vital. And you need to find your purpose in your own story. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you'll join us every week. We'll be interviewing some wonderful people, and then I will also be sharing with you a lot of the tips and the tricks that I have learned throughout my studies over the course of the last 12 years. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you every week. Bye. Okay, I forgot to tell you one more thing. So you will notice that I have a song that comes on at the beginning. It's more just the background music. But at the end of my podcast, I'm going to have a song played. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about this song. I have super talented children they just amaze me and I'm so proud of them. Well, my oldest daughter is very talented musically and creatively. And I asked her if she would help me come up with a song for my podcast. And she said, absolutely. And when I told her what my podcast was, she said, hey, I've got this poem that I wrote. I bet you we can put some music to it. And so she shared it with me and I was just floored. It would actually fit perfectly. The poem is too long to have in just a little jingle at the very end. So we just recorded the very last stanza of the poem, but I wanted to read the entire poem to you now so that you have some context of where that comes from. And I have to say, when she sat down to write out the music for it, it was done in like a half an hour. So kudos to my daughter, Jillian. She's amazing. And I so appreciate that she is joining me just a little bit on this podcast journey. So here's the poem that she wrote. Be you, be true, let your spirit soar. In this vast world, your essence explore. Unleash your passions, let your heart shine. For being yourself is the greatest sign. Embrace your quirks, your unique voice. In authenticity, you have a choice. No need to confirm to fit the mold. Just be yourself, unapologetically bold. Celebrate your dreams. Let them take flight. For you are a star shining bright. In every step you take, let your light glow. Being you is the greatest way to grow. I hope you love that as much as I do, and that, again, you will join us on this journey of finding purpose in our stories. Take care. Bye-bye.
Celebrate your dreams. let them take flight, for you are a star, shining bright in every step you take. Let your